Hey everybody, it's Eric from EPAutos.com, your libertarian car guy. There's the $1.79 a gallon gas. Anyway, this is my third installment from the land of Corona here in Southwest Virginia. I'm making a point of coming down from the woods every day to see what the lay of the land is, see how many people are cringing and cowering per the Coon Man's edict to self-arrest in their homes and give up their lives in order to supposedly stay alive from a virus that doesn't seem to be killing all that many people. And I'm wondering how long it will be before enough Americans finally realize that even if you do get sick from this, probably you're not going to die from this. And it's a really, really important thing to think about. It's one thing if we've got a particularly virulent virus that is going to slay healthy people in mass numbers. And it's a very different thing if we've got a highly contagious virus that's going to make a lot of us sick, feel crappy, but the overwhelming majority, 95+%, are not going to die. Did you hear that Tom Hanks hasn't died? Tom Hanks, by the way, is diabetic. He's also in his 60s, I think. So he's not a young guy, not a particularly healthy guy. He hasn't died. Idris Elba, the actor, young guy, hasn't died. As far as I know, Rand Paul is still alive. So I'm wondering, again, I'm just scanning the roads here. Do you see bodies stacking up and Soylent Green style trucks scooping them up to be taken away to the disposal center to be turned into crackers to feed the rest of us? I don't either. So what is the justification for shutting down the lives of every American in this country? Everyone. That's what we're talking about here. It's tantamount, it's analogous to keeping alive a 100-year-old person on a ventilator. They're alive, but they're not living, and that's a 100-year-old person who's at the end of their natural life. What's being done is being done to people who are nowhere near the end of their natural lives, but whose lives are being taken away from them on account of this boogeyman virus. It's entirely possible that these worst-case scenarios that are being trotted out are accurate, just in the same manner that it's possible that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and that the climate is going to collapse by 2030. But you know what? I've been a working journalist for 30 years, and so far, generally, these kinds of hysterical worst-case scenarios turn out to be largely hysterical. And the reason for that is fairly obvious. From the mundane motives of the press to hype everything, to Geraldo-icize everything, and of course from the standpoint of the government that gets more power and more control by making everybody pee their pants over threats to their safety. And there are a variety of other factors that might be in play here too, including hiding some of the underlying instability in the economy that existed. And had there been a massive downturn without Corona to blame, somebody might have actually had a look at the banks, Wall Street, and some of the crony capitalist shysterism that's been going on. Now, everybody gets cratered, and these big banks, of course, and these big corporations, of course, will all get bailed out at our expense. But you and I, average people, we'll get our $1,200 check. Oh, that's really going to tide you over, huh? Really going to help when your retirement account has lost half its value and you haven't got a job anymore and the rent and the mortgage are due and your kids are looking kind of hungry. Pretty crazy stuff, or pretty extreme stuff. And I'll close by bringing back or bringing up something that the great astronomer and writer Carl Sagan once said when he was asked whether he believed that there were aliens, UFOs, whether the little green men had visited the Earth. And his reply was, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And I think that that's a very reasonable and sensible way to parse and to evaluate almost anything, particularly these so-called crises. If you're going to postulate the end of the world, if you're going to say that the Black Death is here, well, there better be the Black Death. Otherwise, you're toying with people's lives, you're ruining people's lives, millions of people's lives, people who aren't going to die from coronavirus, but may die from poverty, from starvation, from poor hygiene, from all of the awful things that attend being penniless, destitute, and dependent on the government for everything. So I've got a rant also up at EP Autos today that gets into this some more. I'm almost at my little coffee shop, my little Redoubt of Sanity, the Sweet Donkey Coffee Shop here in Southwest Virginia in Roanoke, which I hope will still be open. It was open yesterday, kind of, sorta. They've closed the inside of it to patrons, so you can't sit down inside any longer and have a cup of coffee because Corona. But they are open, or they were open, and you could at least get your coffee, and you could still sit out on the patio, where I'm hoping I'm going to be able to sit as well. I will let you know about that once I get there, and I'll include it with the written portion of this video, which again will be up on the site, epautos.com, the web's best libertarian gearhead site. Thanks for coming, thanks for listening, thanks for reading, and try to maintain perspective. Don't give into the fear peddlers about Corona or anything else. Demand facts, use reason, apply logic. We'll talk to you again soon.